Alright guys, this is going to be our radio video. So this video is basically designed to go over the different types of radios and so you can make the best decision on which radio you want to buy if you're thinking of using one for airsoft. So you can see we got a variety of radios here, some of them more expensive than others, and some of them can go on different channels, different frequencies. Um, just a note before we get into the video, to use some of the frequencies that we talk about in the video, you do have to have a ham radio license. So just a disclaimer, go ahead and get that. So let's get into it. First radio we're going to talk about is the average bubble pack radio that you see at Cabela's or Walmart. And these radios generally have a couple different controls on the front. They're not that high power. You turn them on and they have a channel and talk group on there. They're good for short range. These things are about half a watt to 1 watt of transmission power. So it's good if you want a really basic radio and that talks to other ones. Doesn't really matter which brand you get, they're all kind of the same. It might come with a little pocket clip on the back. We have that disabled, but they're generally the same. You can plug in little headphones into that port right there if you wanted to. You have a microphone. It's the most bare bones radio you can get for airsoft. We would not recommend those. What we would recommend, however, is the next step up, which is the Beofeng. So this is the Beofeng UV-5R. So typically the UV-5R comes with this size battery right here. So this is a 1800 milliamp hour, 7.4 volt battery, and this radio is really battery efficient. So this battery will generally last you an entire day when you're transmitting every once in a while. But we decided to go with the larger battery. So if you look on here, this battery is an extended battery, so it's actually a 3800 milliamp 7.4 volt battery. So it adds quite a bit of transmission power, or quite a bit of runtime onto the radio. So with that battery, this radio runs for, we've had it run for a weekend, and sometimes you go to charge it and you find it's still at full battery. Battery is great. Another reason why you should get this radio is because it can go on a variety of different bands. It's actually a dual band radio, which we'll get more into that in our more detailed radio video when we go into the Beofeng UV-5R specifically. But it gives you a lot more options, and also this radio can transmit at 5 watts, which is a lot more powerful than the other ones. Especially if you're in the woodland environment, that transmission power is going to help you reach out further. It can also talk on the same frequencies as these. The downside of this is you do have to know a little bit more about radios. You have to program it using chirp software. So we're going to actually do a video on that sometime in the coming months. But once you have it programmed, you can turn it on and scroll through your channels. Or it also has a front panel right here, so you can plug in the channel on your own if you wanted to. So next step up from that is this is the TYT MD380. This radio does everything that the Beofeng can do, except that it also has a DMR mode, or a digital mode. And to use digital, you do need a ham radio license. So for most airsofters, this isn't really going to apply. But one benefit of digital is it is a lot clearer, and these radios does have a full color display. You still have the front panel. We do prefer the Beofeng a little bit better though, just because the radio battery life, powering the screen on these digital radios, the battery life only lasts usually a day when you're transmitting as much as the Beofeng. But they can also transmit on up to 5 watts. And then the last radio, which most airsofters would not buy, is a good quality Motorola radio. This is the Motorola XTS-3000, which is actually pretty outdated. You can see the antenna cover came off. It's pretty beat up. And then if you look on the top here, Has a channel knob so you can switch channels. It just has different selectors on it. It has a LCD screen, which is not color. And the only benefit to this radio is that it's very, very rugged. You can see the mic on it. Also has a channel selector on it. And this thing is getting dropped. It's gotten rolled down hills, stuff like that. Very durable radio. And it's also made in the US, so it's quite a bit more expensive than all the other radios. But major downside of this radio right here, the XTS-3000, is that programming it is very difficult, because usually programming software costs a lot of money for these, hundreds of dollars. So it's not really an option for most airsofters, but we just thought we would add it in here because we've tried that in the past. But bottom line is, our first choice is the Beofeng UV-5R because it's the most versatile radio. It has the best battery life, and also it allows you to go on a variety of frequencies, just being one radio and not having a dedicated radio for each frequency. So lastly, we just wanted to show you a few attachments. Usually when you buy the UV-5R, it's going to come with a charger like this. It'll come with this battery. You'll need to buy the extended one separately, but they're not that expensive. It'll come with a hand mic like this. You can see this one's a little bit beat up. It actually got shot right there. We would highly advise against using the hand mic because these mics only use the 2-pin connection, which can be very unreliable, especially if water gets in it. So if you are going to buy a Beofeng, I would buy the Beofeng that does not have this connection. I would buy the one that has the rubberized connection on it. And then lastly, the last attachment we want to talk about is this antenna right here. So this is the Abri antenna. And if you can see here, it has your standard SMA connector on the end. So this attaches directly to the Beofeng's antenna, since the Beofeng has an antenna that can be unscrewed. So you would unscrew your antenna like that. You see the SMA connector in there. And then you would screw on this antenna. It also has some rubber seals, so that way water doesn't get into your connection. Obviously you don't want water getting in there. If you are going to use this antenna, I would have it set on the 5-watt mode. This antenna is called a tape antenna, so basically you can see it in the short configuration here, which is good for UHF. And you can unwrap this. And you can also have it in the extended configuration if you wanted to as well. So it folds. It's one of the cheaper tape antennas out there, but we found that it does improve the range of the radio. We haven't done any crazy testing or anything on it, but it does improve your range, so a lot of guys like that. But bottom line is, pick which radio is best for you. If you want to go really expensive and get a nice Motorola like this one, you can do that. DMR, just remember, any radio past here, you're going to need a license. Also, to use a Beofeng, technically you need a license as well. So the easiest radio would be one of these Motorola Talkabouts, bubble pack radios. But if you do have the opportunity to get a ham license, I would highly suggest it. And the Beofeng is just so reliable. It only costs about $30. So if you lose it, it's not that bad. And it's just bomb-proof as a radio. So let us know in the comments what radio you guys like to use, or if you'd like us to review a certain radio, and we'll see you guys in the next video.